Motion rigs have always been the thing you look at, want, and then close the tab on, because they started around $5,000 and climbed past 20. They were for simulation centers and people with money to burn, not for you. Yesterday, that changed, and then it got complicated because the moment motion becomes affordable, you have to ask a question nobody selling it wants you to ask. Does it actually make you faster? A 4-time Formula One world champion has a blunt answer, and it's not the one you'd expect. Let's start with what actually happened. Yesterday, MOZA launched the HMA150. It's a full motion system, 4 actuators that bolt under your existing rig and physically move the whole cockpit. Pitch, so it tilts forward under braking and back under acceleration. Roll, so it leans through corners. And heave, the vertical movement that lets you feel curbs, bumps, and the road surface coming up through the chassis. 150 millimeters of travel, moving at up to 300 millimeters a second, with more than 1 G of acceleration, all driven straight off the Sim's telemetry. Now here's why this is actually news, and not just another product. The price, $2,999 for the full 4-actuator set. And to understand why that number matters, you need to know what motion used to cost. A proper, full cockpit motion system, the kind that moves your whole rig in 3 dimensions, including that crucial heave, has basically lived in 2 places. The D-Box systems, around $5,000 for the actuators alone, and the open source favorite, the PT actuator kits, around $3,500 if you're willing to assemble and tune it yourself. Below that, at around the same price MOZA is charging, you could get a next level racing seat, but that's a different, lesser thing. It moves the seat, not the whole cockpit, in 2 directions, not 3. No heave. So what MOZA has actually done is deliver the cheapest, true, full cockpit, 3-axis motion system with heave and an integrated controller that the market has seen. It undercuts D-Box by around 40%, beats the open source kit on price while being far simpler to install because the controller is built in. No bulky industrial drive box sitting next to your rig. That's the story. Not that motion exists, but that MOZA just dragged it from luxury pricing into merely expensive. Which is the moment to stop and ask the question. Because now that you can almost justify it, should you? And here's the catch, from the least likely source. Max Verstappen, 4-time Formula One champion and a genuinely obsessive sim racer. Not a celebrity endorsement. A guy who races online at an elite level. Speaking on his own team's channel, he was asked about motion rigs. His answer, and I'm quoting him directly, "I'm driving at home on a static rig because it's faster. All these motion rigs are slower. But of course, if you want to try and replicate a little bit of what you feel in real life, then yeah, you buy a motion rig. But I think it's not really necessary at the moment." Read that again. The fastest driver on the planet chooses not to use motion because for pure pace, it slows him down. So before you spend $3,000, you need to understand why he's right. And then, why he's also not telling you the whole story. Here's why motion can genuinely make you slower. When you race for lap time, you're relying on a tight, instant loop. The car does something. You feel it. You react. Your force feedback and your eyes give you that information almost instantly. A motion platform adds a third input, your body being physically moved, and that movement has to be generated. Telemetry comes in, software processes it, actuators spin up and shift the cockpit. That takes time. Milliseconds, but the loop you're racing on is measured in milliseconds. So the physical motion can arrive a beat after the thing it's representing, and now your body is getting information that's slightly out of sync with your hands and your eyes. For a driver chasing absolute consistency, that mismatch is noise. It's something new to filter out. There's a second problem, and it's more subtle. When motion tilts your seat, but your screen stays put, your inner ear and your eyes disagree. In a real car, when the chassis pitches, your whole view of the world pitches with it. On a rig, with fixed monitors, the seat moves and the picture doesn't. Your brain notices that disagreement and quietly spends effort reconciling it. That's cognitive load, energy going into resolving a conflict instead of into driving. for someone hunting the last tenth, that's a real cost. So Verstappen is right. If your single goal is the fastest possible lap, a static rig with great force feedback and clean visuals is the sharper tool. Motion is one more variable between you and consistency. But, and this is where it flips, that is not why most people buy motion. And judging motion purely on lap time is like judging a cinema by how fast it delivers the plot. Speed was never the point, because here's what motion actually does. It makes the whole thing real in a way force feedback alone simply cannot. You feel the rear step out through your body before you'd ever catch it through the wheel. You feel the compression over a crest, the thump of a curb through the seat of your pants, the long lateral load of a fast corner pressing you sideways. It stops being a game you're watching through a screen and becomes something happening to you. And that immersion, for the vast majority of people who race at home, is worth far more than a tenth of a second they were never going to use anyway. So who is this actually for? Be honest with yourself about which one you are. If you are a hardcore competitive racer, hunting iRating, living in ranked splits, chasing every last tenth, motion is not your upgrade. Verstappen just told you that for free. Put that 3,000 into a better base, better pedals, a stiffer rig. But if you race for the love of it, if you want to feel the car, if you stream and want your audience to feel it too, if you drive rally or off-road or trucks where the terrain is half the experience, if you're in VR chasing total immersion, then motion is transformative. And MOZA has just made it cost roughly half what it used to. For you, this launch genuinely matters. That's the whole picture. Motion doesn't make you faster, it makes you feel more. Those are two completely different purchases, and the mistake is buying one thinking you're getting the other. MOZA didn't just lower a price yesterday. They made an entire category of sim racer finally stop and ask whether immersion is what they've been missing. For a lot of people, quietly, the answer is going to be yes. If breakdowns like this help you spend your money smarter, subscribe. That's the entire point of this channel, cutting through the hype so you know exactly what your money buys before you hand it over, not after.